Hello everyone, Paul Heumiller here at Dream Guitars, and it's my complete pleasure to introduce masterpiece number 2 from Preston Thompson. The Preston Thompson shop's out in Sisters, Oregon. Dear friends of mine who I've had a chance to go visit, and of course I knew Preston before we lost him, which is a real loss for the luthier community, but he left behind a legacy and a team that is really carrying on his dream. And this guitar is actually in memory of Preston Thompson. This was the last guitar that Simon Haycraft, the person who does the inlay, amongst many other things at Thompson Guitars, he presented this to Preston in his last days, and Preston really loved the concept, and so the whole team there decided to make the guitar in his memory. So it's really kind of a special treat to have this guitar here. And there's a lot to talk about on this guitar. I'll try to be brief, but I also want you to get all the details about it. And please look at all the photos and enlarge them, because this is a masterpiece, really. It's a work of art, and there's some very cool techniques on this guitar that have never been done before, which we'll get into. So again, Simon Haycraft is sort of the brains behind the look and the theme of the guitar, and of course the inlays I'm going to show you, and the die techniques that are used on this guitar on the back, which we'll get to in a moment. Spoiler alert. But for starters, it's a 0014 fret guitar. It's an Adirondack top, of course, with a beautiful sunburst here, and very, very bear claw. And that's part of the theme. As you'll see, this guitar, the way Simon described it, it was a very water theme, a very somber theme. You know, again, we're celebrating the life of Preston Thompson, but of course, we did lose him as well. So it's got a sort of a nice darkness to it in a very beautiful way. Then there's a beautiful inlays on the fingerboard, a beautiful theme of koi fish here with lots of lily pads and flowers. And then there's cherry blossoms on the top. And there's quite a few different types of pearl and green stones and different, you know, this brass. The brass inlay on this guitar is really neat. There's brass purflings in a number of places, starting from the line around the headstock, and then the sort of the current that goes down the fingerboard. And then it's also in the purflings, which are 45 style around the entire instrument. So the sides and back, just like a 45 style Martin guitar would have abalone here, this has brass. And it's really hard to work with brass in this way. They had to actually do a lot of R&D and develop how to make brass purflings to get it right, and then of course to install it on the guitar. So a lot of one-of-a-kind things on this masterpiece number 2 from the Preston Thompson shop. Even down here at the bridge, again, look at the photos, but you'll see there's brass encircling the saddle itself, and then they made the pins themselves with brass inlaid in the pins, as well as some jade, and just crazy amounts of work. Like I asked Simon how many hours this guitar has, and he said he stopped counting at 500 hours. So it's literally, I'm sure it's thousands of hours when you get into this amount of detail. And then of course, we're going to show you the back now. We've got quilted maple with this amazing design, which is it's basically impregnated dies, but I can't even imagine how this was done. And you know, Simon, of course, can't tell us everything, but you can see how the dies are used in such a way that the outlines of the fish are slightly blurred. Like, to me, it's very much like you're looking through water at the fish. So they're not just there in a very static form, they're alive. And the more you move the guitar he actually used the figure of the wood in with where he chose to put the fish and the outline of the fish. So it's really, really beautifully done. And again, we just recorded an interview, which will be part of this listing here, so you can listen to Simon describe what he's done on this guitar. And again, you've got the brass inlays completely around the back, and of course the gorgeous sunburst, and the fish sort of play in the sunburst as well, like the shadows in a pond or a lake. So just a stunning guitar. I love everything about it. I love, every time I pick it up, it's one of those guitars that you see something new and exciting. So it's definitely a work of art. but it's also just a terrific guitar. Maple and Adirondack, again, there's a darkness and a sort of somberness to the tone, but in a beautiful, haunting way. It's got a great voice. It's very lively. Gareth, who does the voicing there, really brought out the best of this Adirondack top, where it's very present, very alive, a lot of good bass response and nice thickness to every string, which I personally enjoy quite a bit. So I'm going to play samples today in a couple of different styles and tunings for you, but it's a guitar that I think could do a lot of things, from really beautiful music to blues and rags and all of the kind of stuff you would normally want to do on a 00. So just my absolute pleasure to present masterpiece number 2 from Preston Thompson Guitars. Enjoy.